Welcome to Michael Park's F1, everything Formula One, but from a photographer's point of view.
Round 15, the Dutch Grand Prix from Zandvoort. There has been a revolution in Formula One. The king is dead. Long live the king. The revolution has been brewing for some time, since Miami, where the first shots were fired. At times, it looked like it would falter, that the power of Red Bull and the skill of Verstappen would crush all opposition, like they did last year. But it has been building steadily for some time. There were some false dawns at Silverstone and Spa, but this race was different. To come to Max's home race, to the House of Orange, and deliver such a statement victory, it was massive. PAPAYA is officially the new orange. The thing that's going to worry all other teams, despite the dominance, was this was far from a perfect race by McLaren. The starts for both cars were very weak. The pit stop strategy for Oscar was wrong again. But there is still a noticeable change. There is now an air of confidence around the team, a feeling of being comfortable with being the best team in the paddock, an acceptance that they'll be judged to a higher standard from now on. They are no longer the plucky little team punching above their weight. They are now the team to beat. McLaren did bring a large upgrade package, which included a new front wing, revised front and rear suspension, and a whole new floor, all designed to improve airflow and performance. They even brought a new track-specific rear wing and beam wing designed to deliver higher downforce. Red Bull also had an upgrade package with improvements to their Budapest spec car. This is the one without the huge cannons down the side. And this is where there's a difference. Red Bull's upgrade package didn't deliver anywhere near the performance improvements that the McLaren's upgrade package did. Red Bull advisor Helmut Marko suggested that they'll bring further upgrades, but without specifying when or where. And this is where Red Bull is now on the back foot. Because they've won for the past few seasons, they have less time available to them to test new concepts in the wind tunnel. They actually have 20% less time than McLaren have this year. As part of Formula One's new structure, teams that have done less well in the past are given more wind tunnel time in the hopes that they improve their cars. When you add to that the cost that Red Bull has to pay to replace damaged parts, roughly $4.5 million, which they've spent on repairs to both cars over the course of the year, compared to $1 million spent by McLaren, you start to see what a strong position the Woking-based team are in. Because of the quality of the Miami upgrades, they've been able to take more time on their next improvement, bringing it to a race where they know it will add value. Red Bull, Mercedes and Ferrari have not been that effective. Ferrari are still trying to recover from their Spanish Grand Prix upgrades that didn't deliver what they expected. These teams are all lurching, grasping for solutions where McLaren can be calm and clear-eyed about what they bring. All of that being said, we have to ask ourselves, is there really a championship battle on the cards? Red Bull are leading the constructors by 30 points, and you would expect that at the current rate that McLaren are closing the gap, they would overtake Red Bull by Singapore. The driver's title, however, is a little bit further out of reach. Currently, the gap between Lando and Max is 70 points. To put this in perspective, if Max finished second in every race and sprint race and took just 3 fastest laps, he will win the title. It's a huge task to overcome such a massive advantage with only 9 races left. And this in an era where cars are so reliable. Max has only retired once in the last 56 races. Lando needs to get as many cars between him and Max as possible in every race if he's to stand a chance. Oscar had the car to do it in Zandvoort, but he ended up 4th because McLaren didn't react soon enough to the undercut. Ferrari stopped on lap 24 for Leclerc, and McLaren waited until lap 33 to bring Oscar in. All that time he was dropping back. Had he stopped at a similar time to Leclerc, he could have possibly passed Max, considering he was less than 5 seconds away from the Dutchman at the end of the race. McLaren will also need Ferrari and Mercedes to step up. Mercedes had been so strong in the 2 high-speed tracks in Silverstone and Spa, but they were nowhere on the high downforce track of Zandvoort. Ferrari did maximise their potential in this race, and you can expect them to be stronger in their home Grand Prix. It is so important for them. They've experimented a lot in the past few races. With titles now out of reach, you feel that the whole of the Scuderia's season is built around doing well in Monza. So while it is looking quite improbable for Lando Norris to win the title, there is still a little bit of something here. A little bit of anticipation to build on. The Dutch Grand Prix is always a special one. It's a home race for me. It's the one that I can sleep in my own bed, so that is very special in its own right. But it is unique. The extreme banking is unlike anything else we have at any other track. I did a truck tour with the Paddock Club, and it was amazing to experience the extreme angles you get going through turn 3. And that was on the back of a truck, let alone a Formula 1 car. The fans here are like no other. It really is like a sea of orange. It makes for a brilliant backdrop when photographing fast cars. The undulation in the track gives you some great angles to shoot from, and having sand dunes in the background is a lovely change from city buildings or forests that we usually get at other tracks. The paddock here is split, with the garages being in a completely separate area to the hospitality units, and it's fun seeing the drivers whiz between the two of them in all sorts of different modes of transport. But it's the changeable weather that really stands out at this track. It can go from rain to wind to sunshine in a matter of minutes. For free practice 1, we had 80 km/h winds with torrential rain at the start, and by the end of the session it was bright sunshine and the drivers were out on slick tyres. The rain was so heavy on Saturday that they had to cancel the F1 Academy race because it was just so dangerous. The big news going into the weekend was Jack Doohan has signed for Alpine. He's been part of their junior program for a few years now, and it's really good to see him take a step up to the senior team. I did get to have a short photo shoot with him, and he was a lot of fun to work with. There might also be a change at Williams for Monza. Logan Sargent's latest crash was massive, and it might be the final straw that could see him being replaced with either Mercedes reserve driver Mick Schumacher or Red Bull's Liam Lawson. While recording this, Williams have just dropped an absolute bombshell of breaking news. Williams have indeed decided to drop Logan Sargent for the remainder of the year, but they haven't replaced him by either of the two drivers I thought they would, but instead they've decided to promote internally and have opted to give Franco Colapinto a go. Franco is currently competing in Formula 2, where he's had one sprint race victory and is currently lying 6th in the championship. So it's off to Italy we go, with the taste of anticipation in our mouths that the battle for the 2024 title has been joined, and a statement victory has been written into the sands of Zandvoort.
Thank you so much for joining me for this look back at the Dutch Grand Prix. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, please do like and subscribe. Our next stop is going to be Monza in Italy, so until then, goodbye.